Well done. So this workshop's called Swift Best Practices. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh no. This sounds tedious. I want to go out there doing ARKit or Core ML or other exciting, cool things. Not best practices. That's not cool at all. Give me a chance, I hope I can convince you otherwise. If you don't know me already, I'm on a site called Hacking with Swift, currently placed at hackingwithswift.com. There are 1,200 articles there about Swift, all free of charge, go check them out. My full-time job is writing books about Swift, doing talks about Swift, like Swift design patterns, like Pro Swift, and otherwise. If you have time at the end, I might send you a short competition where you can win a big stack of books. If you have time, if you're fast. Right now, I have a new thing called the 100 Days of Swift. I provide 1 hour of free Swift material every day to help folks learn Swift from scratch, online at that URL, go check it out. Every Sunday, I run a thing called Swift on Sundays, which is a live YouTube stream every week. We start with a blank Xcode project. Every week we spend an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes making a new app from scratch every week. This Sunday is going to be how to make declarative UI, sending JSON over the web. I've got an app for iPhone called Unwrap, where you can learn Swift right on your iPhone. It's on GitHub, you can contribute if you feel good about that, go ahead. And I have a podcast with my friend Sean Allen called Swift Over Coffee. Every 2 weeks, Swift news and chat and stuff. Nice and short. Okay, that's about me. Today's plan. Now I hope, sincerely, that we can all agree it's a good idea to make code reusable. And we've got so many ways of doing this. We use things like generics, or extensions, or subclasses, or protocols, or similar, to make our code reusable more than just once. We can apply it in many places, again and again and again. We know it's proven code, we know it's working code, and that same thing applied in many places. Now, a best practice is how we reuse ideas. We say, well, the last time I faced this problem, here's how I solved it. And what you won't do is remember any of the code. That's not going to happen. No, oh yes, line 100 and true, I didn't unwrap here and you won't do that, ain't going to happen. What you will remember is the structure of the code, what worked well, what worked badly, and what it meant for the rest of the code base. Well, if we use this thing here, it'll mean this thing here, and similar. And what it means is you can then talk to your colleagues with this shared vocabulary. You can say, well, let's use a template method here. It'll solve the problem. And colleague A will say, yeah, that's perfect. I can see exactly why you want to do that. Colleague B will say, oh no, that means da-da-da. But that shared vocabulary, everyone understands these basic patterns again and again and again. We can all talk about them freely. And we use terms like generics all the time. I say generics, you know what that means. Of course, poor person in the street has no idea what a generic is, whereas it's got different terms like coding, but to us we know what it means. The problem is, when it comes to best practices, when it comes to ideas, we use this word, pattern. We wrap up all these things, all these proven time-tested techniques, and say these are design patterns. And when you say those two words, everyone thinks of this book, the Gang of Four book. This is an old book, a time-tested book that lists 39 patterns, like composites and flyweights and prototypes and builders and adapters and more. Lots of these things. But this book was not written for Swift. This book wasn't even for Objective-C. This book was for Smalltalk and C++. Now I don't know how many apps you've written in Smalltalk recently. I suspect the answer is 0. What you'll find is, folks will take this book and say, well, I'm going to basically take that entirely into Swift. All the things that worked great in C++ and Smalltalk must therefore work perfectly well in Swift, unchanged. Which makes no sense to me. It's its own language, on its own platform. We have our own idioms, our own ways of working that are unique to us. You won't find codable in Smalltalk, or protocol extensions, for example. They don't exist. They're not Swifty on Smalltalk, so it's not used. We have our own ways of working. Now, I could, and you had the chance, to for me to stand at the front here and talk to you about patterns and ideas and practices. But no! Someone, maybe all of you, chose to have a workshop, which means I don't do the work. Instead, I have made for you a series of documents for you to read through describing a variety of best practices. And each one of these things, when you open up, will give you an idea, as an overview, what the thing is trying to do. It'll outline the problem it's trying to solve, how it solves it, and gives you a challenge. And you'll find in there an Xcode project that basically ignores every best practice. It's the worst kind of Swift code that I'm sure no one in this room ever writes. There are 8 of these things. And they're numbered that way from easy to hard, because you're all at different difficulty levels, and that's okay. You're all different sort of skill levels. So you can just do the beginning ones you want to, just do the hard ones you want to, that's fine. But they're easy to hard, 1 through 8. And if you choose to, forget my numbers. Do them in any order that interests you, based on what you want to learn tonight. Or, just do a handful of them. I don't really mind. It's your time, you chose workshop, here we are. What matters is, this is a space where you can figure things out, try things out, and hopefully collaborate to find solutions to these problems. With real code. Not with theory, on slides, real code. Because what you'll find is, some of these patterns are brilliant for your project. You go, oh, this thing here, just totally just steal that code, put it in my project, I'm happy, I've walked away with excellent improvements in my project. Other things, not so much. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. Not every pattern works in every project. Not every practice works in every project. It's just not how things work. What you will find is every one of these things helps you eliminate massive view controllers. For me, a massive view controller is anything over 100 lines of code. That's 100, not 1000, close to the back. While also reducing coupling in our code. Now, coupling, I hope you know, is the measure of how much each part of our code intercommunicates with the rest of our code. So here, this spaghetti diagram that in no way represents any code here, I'm sure, everything can talk to everything else and modify everything else to a really flaky system. We don't want that. We want reduced coupling. Coupling is the enemy. And I hope the end result will be smaller, lighter code. It's easier to read, easier to write, easier to maintain, easier to test across the board. Now, this is a workshop, which means there's going to be work, which is great for me. I come out here, I drink a coffee, I walk around, had your nice food last night, the shops with salata, love it. But and you all work for me, I just sit here and watch you all work. I love it, it's fantastic, I love these kind of things. But you have to engage with me. I'm here to help you out and answer your questions. And so we have a handful of ground rules that are, firstly, questions. You've got to ask, right? That's what I'm here for. If you have questions, you've got to ask me. Why am I doing it this way? Would this way also work? If it's easy, I will answer straight away. That's your answer. We can talk about it if you want to, but there's the basic answer. If it's complex, we can talk later. I'm here till like 4 AM tomorrow morning, so, you know, use me while I'm here. If I don't know, I will go away and find out. And there are many things I don't know, and I'm very comfortable saying that. But the only way I will know if I'm going too fast, or you're not understanding something, is if you say something. So please stop me and ask questions. And there's a workshop that are some bonus rules, in addition to any code of conduct you normally have. First, no fading surprise. So it says, oh, we can solve this with a closure. And the person next to you says, what's a closure? You do not say, how do you not know what closures are? We are all learning something every day. Yesterday I learned Rakia was not for me. Yes. No, well actually, so if I say to you, hey, strings are value types in Swift, I don't want to hear, well actually they're reference types with value semantics, which is absolutely true. Don't get me wrong, being technically correct is the best kind of correct. But, don't want to hear, well actually, that's just grandstanding, no one cares, you want people to learn stuff. And finally, no backseat driving. If someone gets stuck, don't shout the answer across to them. Either go and sit with them, help them out, or leave them and I'm going to help them out. Those are the rules. Now, you heard me say, I hope, there are some things I don't know. I am very comfortable saying that. UI kit, core graphics, core image, map kit, These are massive, massive frameworks. There are many things I don't know, I'm learning all the time. I hope that's at the tone at the right level of this workshop. If you have questions, you've got to ask. Don't be afraid of not knowing something. We all don't know some things. With that in mind, your laptop's ready. Your goal is to find someone in the room you have never worked with before. That will be your coding buddy for the evening. You'll be pairing with this other person. Now if you want to, you can do threes. Threes are okay. But at least one other person. I want to see pairs or threes. And the reason this is simple. If you're by yourself and you hit something you don't know, it's really easy to say, wow, I bet everyone else in this room knows how to solve this. I'm really dumb, I don't get this. If you're with somebody else and you both don't know, it feels much, much better. You feel brave about asking questions and finding answers. So step one, find a coding buddy for the evening you've never worked with before. I'll be checking. It normally means you work on one laptop. I understand you have two open, that's fine. Ideally, can you work together to solve problems, okay? So whoever has the fastest laptop, that's your choice of laptop. Step two, download this zip file. hackingwithzip.com/talks/best-practices.zip. This contains all the assets you need to follow along. That's going to go in 5 seconds, folks. Get it down. 3, 2, 1. Going away. Okay. So in that zip file, I'm going to turn on screen mirroring. You can not see my screen, hopefully. Displays, arrangements, mirror displays. So you will see a load of stuff. You will see this best practice folder here, which contains the PDFs, one of which is called starthere.pdf. That's the one to start with. You'll also see a project here, hackingwithzip.exco proj. Open that up, compile that, build that, stick it in your simulator, and you will see this fairly small project. It is not complicated, but it's some pretty awful code in there, by design. You will see a list of some projects from my first book for iOS here, Hacking with Swift. When you choose one of these things, like Storm Viewer, you'll see it's an app project, Storm Viewer, you'll learn this, whatever. Press start reading, it shows a little web view in here. Pops up if you have Wi-Fi enabled. That's what it shows there. You can go back and say it's a game project. This one here, the game project, little picture here, or technique project, similar. And the settings screen here, enter your name. My name is not anonymous, it's Paul or whatever. And do that. And filter if you choose to, let's do techniques only, for example, and go back. Just techniques and Paul. That is the entire project, but it's replete with terrible code. Open up starthere.pdf, have a read through. Then choose one of those PDFs, and you see delegation extensions, dependency injection, coordinators, whatever, and just dive in. Again, they're all easy to hard. If you have questions, please ask. It's not a race. Begin.